People who clean up after festivals and similar events, what's the best and worst things you have found left behind? Not a cleaning person, but I saw a prosthetic leg left at the end of a metal festival. I was at a metal festival once, and when we were drunk and high, we decided to go into the funfair bit on the way back from the last performance of the night. A friend of mine went down the helter-skelter, followed by a woman whose leg fell off when she got to the bottom. For a second we were trying to figure out if we actually saw what we had seen, but it was a prosthetic leg. The ultimate stocking stuffer at Christmas. I've cleaned up and found entire cooking sets and chairs. Free kitchen. I arrived with great expectations of a euphoric and carefree festival experience. I departed with a kitchen. It's free meal estate. I go to a lot of endurance car races. It's common for people to bring old furniture they don't want, or buy crap furniture off of Craigslist nearby and just leave it there. Back in the day, it was fairly common for that furniture to end up on fire at some point, but I haven't seen that in a while. I found a cooler and $135 in the lot after a fish show. What was in the cooler? It's ice. That's where it went. Worst is definitely a tie between the 5-liter water carrier filled with urine, or the lidded saucepan containing a single, fairly large, poo. You kept the pan, right? Damn right. Throwing away a barely used pan like that? What am I, a millionaire? Could have washed the pan with that pee. Was it non-stick though? The pan or the poo? You're asking the right questions. Rinsed it out with the pee and it was all good to go. Well, at least not a tent full of crap. I was working at a festival, although not doing cleanup, and stayed till the day after. The amount of tents people leave behind, brand new tents. Basically, people just buy new stuff for that festival and then can't be bothered to bring it home/dispose of it properly. I ended up with a brand new 10-person tent, thanks to some other people's laziness. I helped out some hippie friends of mine running this little hippie festival called Chronophonium, about 500 people camping for 3 days. Lots of themes around sustainability, recycling and whatnot. Almost everyone left brand new tents in disheveled states all over the place. You can buy a cheap tent for next to nothing at the warehouse, New Zealand's Walmart. I reckon people are packing up to go on the last day hungover as F, and they just want to mentally write off everything and get home ASAP. These same people would have launched into monologues about wastefulness from big box stores and sustainable reuse at any other time. When you're hungover and coming down from a 3-day bender, principles go out the window. Even worse, people who triumphantly declare something like, "You know what? I'm just going to leave the tent here as a donation. Why not let someone else have it, right?" Then feel all altruistic about themselves as they leave their garbage behind. At Ruskula Festival there were containers for donating tents and sleeping bags. So you had to pack them, but not drag them with you to another country by train. When I went to Ruskula, there was an American who lived in Denmark who brought a giant teepee for anyone who showed up without a tent. I still mentally thank him 22 years later. Talking about Ruskula stories, shout out to the random Dutch girl who smoked like 100 joints and was super talkative. As someone who went alone, I appreciate the chat as we waited for Florence, plus, the machine. Unspeakable things happened in that tent. Chakras were misaligned in that tent. People often fly in from another city or country to attend music festivals. They buy their camping gear and leave it when they fly home. You'd figure there'd be a tent rental place right at the festival. Just charge them the full amount or a hefty deposit. Then if they walk, you're covered, plus you can go retrieve the tent and rent it again. If it's too trashed, you still made money. Canadian checking in. I've traveled to Germany twice for the Wacken Open Air Festival. I was traveling alone and I did not want to F around with buying/transporting a whole bunch of camping gear to and from the festival. Wacken has a tent rental service that is great. They even place their section of tents very close to the entrance to the stages, so you would likely get a better camping spot by renting a tent rather than bringing one and hoping that you're there early enough to get something good. On the festivals I've been to, there have been that service. But the price of renting a tent on the festival is about twice as expensive as buying one, so it's not very attractive. Tental. Rent a tent. Current tense. Poor tense. Past tense/present tense. Porta tense. Happy to see me tense. Temporary. Intense. For all intents and purposes? Tent a center. There are companies that offer tents for rent. Depending on your schedule, money, and/or laziness, they even build it up for you so you only have to move in. I did a clean at a 3-day music festival once. Literally the first night I had to clean one of the portable shower cubicles, because someone had crap in the corner and stuck a cocktail umbrella in it. Edit. Thanks for the awards. It goes without saying that I didn't take another festival job, crap work. Also, nice chirpin'. Disgusting that someone would do that, but the umbrella bit made me laugh. That poo was probably the hottest holiday destination for flies all around the world. A puna colada. F.U., Shorsey. My dad used to be the person in charge of renting out the Knights of Columbus Hall. Per policy, he had to be on site during the event, but would clean up after. The cleanup would usually be the next day, and I'd come along to help. The best thing we found was a $500 tip left behind by the father of the bride after a wedding reception with a little thank you note. The worst was finding the punch bowl the next day after someone had puked in it and put a lid over it. I'm pretty sure it had been spiked with something pretty strong before that, too. How'd you figure that out? Taste test? An overwhelming stench of alcohol mixed with the puke that made my nostrils feel like they were on fire. Bottle of rum, lots and lots of drugs, watches, phones, perfectly good clothes, welly boots, wallet/cash etc. Worst is crap tents. As in, abandoning your tent but doing a massive crap in it before you go so it can't be reused. Crap tents is a regular occurrence? Like someone could be in the car getting on the highway and be like, oh, I forgot to crap tent. Maybe they crap in a tent because the porta potties are often so very disgusting at many concerts. Yeah, I'm imagining it's something like this, or simply for the convenience of not having to go find the porta potty and wait in line. Still pretty gross either way. I just cut a hole and dig down a bit. Do the biz, and then cover. The tent is a nice screen. If you want to be fancy, get a 5-gallon bucket with big foam swimming noodles from Walmart and cut to size of the bucket rim, then make a slice long way to slide onto the rim. Now you have cushion while you crap and it's a quick clean. Fit for a king. This is simultaneously the worst and best thing I've read today. Thanks. Throw in some kitty litter and you got a reusable toilet. I cleaned up for an event once, and it was an event where you weren't allowed to bring your own alcohol in, so they can get you to buy it from the event itself and whatnot, so cops were taking people's alcohol. Cool, that's fine. I was cleaning up and 2 cops walked over and asked if I was 18. I showed them my license to prove I was, and they gave me almost $1,000 of untouched alcohol that they'd confiscated from people trying to sneak it in. Bottles of vodka and tequila, a lot of beer and rum, and a bunch of ciders, all given to me cause I was a volunteer and not getting paid otherwise. Was effing great. Edit, for everyone asking, this was in Australia. LMFAO. Tough look, you're 18 or older, gloop, yes? Wanna some booze? Wanna some booze? Was the cop Jar Jar Binks? You saw mean, we saw going to get lit, Ani? Phew. I really thought this was going to go in a different direction. First, that you had collected some half-full bottles and you were underage so they arrested you, or second, that you were of age and ticketed you for having opened bottles in a public place or something. I feel so much better. I'm an usher at my neighborhood movie theater, so I don't know if this counts, but I found a plastic bag under a seat with 6 guppies swimming around inside, so I kept the guppies for myself, lol. I had to Google how to take care of fish, but it was fun and I still have them today. You are a good person. A lot of people don't care for fish because they are cheap and are looked as disposable, but they are still living sentient beings. As someone who recently got into the aquarium hobby, I didn't realize how poorly taken care of most fish are. Even as someone who does their due diligence and research beforehand, I've still lost fish, and it's made realize just how fragile they are. My kids wanted a pet, and so we settled on a fish. I asked the fish store person a buttload of questions, made sure to get all I needed. Good 10-gallon tank for 3 fish, heater, filter, all of it. Kids got bored in a few days. Me? I love those fish. If my wife wasn't annoyed by the noise, I'd have them in my bedroom. Or in my office. As you say, living creatures. Always try to make sure they stay taken care of. We were too wasted to leave a music festival outside of LA once, so we just hung out and waited for everyone else to take off. When my boyfriend and I finally got straight, enough to pack up, we walked through a wasteland of expensive brand name tents and chairs. We put our stuff away and then literally just walked around picking stuff up. The people cleaning had already picked through all the good stuff and were literally filling wheelbarrows full of things. We ended up scoring a Moose Jaw 8-person tent that was barely used. I found a few pair of designer glasses and a crap ton of other clothes like hoodies and very nice jeans. My boyfriend found a really expensive folding knife and a brand new Canon 5D that had one picture of someone's butt on it. He found a coin purse that had $300 in it and no ID under a styrofoam cooler. We also found a Yeti cooler that was filled with crushed hard seltzer cans and a poo that we cleaned out. We packed his SUV literally to the brim with expensive stuff and have been using it all for years. I love that someone brought a full-frame Canon DSLR and only took one picture of a butt. Maybe it was the butt that made the poo in that Yeti. That's where the evidence seems to be pointing. Was the butt pic good though? Poop tent. It's a 5-gallon bucket filled with laundry detergent with a toilet seat on top placed in a cheap tent. Imagine open that sucker up after 4 days of 100-degree weather. Dead body. It was an apparent odd. Booze and drugs. Also a nitrous tank. That night after work was fun. Dead body? Wow, a lot of these are drugs and stuff, but man, that's a whole other level of messed up. I like how he explained the poo bucket but mentioned the dead body in passing. Lol. For some reason I thought the dead body was in the poop tent, huh? I volunteer at a large music festival and dead bodies are not as uncommon as you think. There's almost always at least one, usually from an odd. Really sad, to be honest. That's the kind of toilet I use camping, except I use cat litter instead of detergent. People can be so gross. All you got to do is tie up the garbage bag and put the actual lid on to get rid of it at home. And if people ask what's inside, all you need to say is cat litter. Not my profession, but I lived in the downtown area of my city when I was younger, and every year for the last 100-odd years they've had a huge festival in that downtown area celebrating the fruit crop. Although nowadays it's less about the crop and more about the kids from the local university getting wasted. Anyways, I stepped out my back door on the last night of the festival and saw a young woman passed out in the alley. I ran over to her as quick as I could to make sure she was alive. I had 911 on the phone and they advised me to poke her with my foot just in case she was alive and responded aggressively. So I poked this chick with my foot and almost die of a heart attack myself when she leaps up, screams like a effing banshee, and throws an empty bottle of Fireball square into my chest. She took off running/stumbling down the alley and stopped about 50 feet away from me, takes off her dress and completely naked, starts pissing in the road. Then she took off down the street. The 911 operator just says, "Did she respond to the nudge with your foot?" Edit. Glad you all enjoyed this story so much. Stay hydrated. She hit me with a fireball. Failed his dex saving throw. This has the most chaotic energy. I actually laughed out loud. It was legitimately the most what the F moment of my life. Lol. The woman be like, call an ambulance. But not for me. Don't leave us hanging. Did she respond to it or not? They've been married 15 years now. What can I say? Love is a fickle beast. How did the 911 person know this girl was going to respond aggressively to a foot nudge? My brother-in-law is a paramedic and he said he was taught to nudge with your foot if someone's passed out because if they're on a drug that may cause aggression, they might come up swinging. So it's best to test the waters before you try to assist them. I think the 911 operator was just telling me to do it for my own safety, and she ended up being correct. Haha. It's true. It's the same reason cops stand to the side of the door when they knock, even if it's a well check. You just never know. Not quite what was asked, but I have an uncle who runs a 2-day festival. It is held on tribal land. At the end, people from the tribe were ready to clean up after the weekend festivities. That was part of the contract. After last act, he gets up on stage and asks the festival goers to help clean up after themselves. The crowd left it clean. No cleanup needed after. So guess clean grounds after a weekend festival may count. I feel like it might have been partly because they were on tribal land, so they felt obligated to help them, instead of causing further harm to their land. Probably also because they were directly called to help at the end, instead of the beginning, which I don't even get why you're asking at the beginning. Most people probably won't remember you said it by the end. Yeah, but also it is an NZ and it is a target to be as green as possible. No plastic cups, bottles for water. The people who attend are kind of greenies, so that also helps. Collected tents and sleeping bags for a homeless charity. Also picked up hundreds of cans of beer and cider. Put the cans in a bath at home in sterilizing fluid, then sold them cheap at a party as a fundraiser for the charity. You are a good person. Sure. Also, I got drunk for really cheap, smiley face. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.